Hi students, good afternoon. Hope you are fine and enjoying your vacations. So today we are making the video unit number 14, one of the most important unit in CM. So if you take a look, unit number 12, 13, 14 consist of 20% exam weightage. So this is one of the unit which can play a very important role to qualify the CMA Part 1 exam in first attempt. So we are going to guide you about the important formulas and equations from this unit. And by just having quick overview of this video, you can quickly revise your formulas whenever you are going to start the practice. So better you will go through this video. So you will have quick overview. What are the important formulas you have to use while solving the questions? So, unit number 14, starting from page number 441, Gleim material we are following. So the first topic we have about sales forecast. And in the sales forecast, we first have to calculate the average annual growth rate. Like if you will see in the book, we have AAGR, average annual growth rate we have to calculate. So what we do, we will add growth rate for different years. Say GR1 is the growth rate 1, GR2, GR3, so on, any number of years. Say we will do it for 4 years. So GR4, you will add all the growth rates dividing by 4. You will have average annual growth rate, correct? So this is the reason we have to calculate here growth rate. This formula will be helpful for you in so many other topics as well. Whenever you want to calculate the growth rate from year 1 to year 2. So what you will do, current year minus last year dividing by last year, it will give you the growth from year 1 to year 2. Correct? This formula is the first formula which you use for the sales forecast, because when you forecast the sales, you should have the idea what is the historical growth. Based on historical growth, you can forecast the future as well. Of course, we consider some other factors as well. I cannot 100% rely only on average growth rate, annual average growth rate. This is not the only one factor. Other factors we also have to consider, like economic conditions, competitors, so many other factors. Consider what will be your sales volume. So here we are just discussing the formula list. For the complete topic, we'll upload another videos. Now the next one, students, we have production budget. After this one, you will see the topic. We have production budget. Just after sales growth, the next topic we have about. Uh, but before production budget, let's take a look. Sales budget. Sales budget, students, mean once you have estimated quantity, which you estimate based on so many factors, like you will consider average annual growth rate, you will consider economic factors, comparative situation in the market, government regulations. So by considering different factors, you will estimate the quantity. That estimate quantity just need to multiply with the sales price, you will have the sales budget. Now come to the production budget. You know that sales budget is the starting budget. This is the first budget we should know. Once we have the sales budget, we can look for another budget. So after the sales budget, we prepare production budget. How, which formula we use? We say projected sales in units, which will come from the sales budget. Desired ending units. This one we are discussing for finished goods. Desired ending units, company will usually have the policy how much they want to retain. Sometimes they retain 10% of next month sales, sometimes 20% of next month sales. So it's all about company policy. So usually he will give you in the question Once we add the ending inventory, we will have total needed. From this one, we just need to subtract beginning inventory. We will have units to be produced. So this is our production budget. This simple formula you have to use whenever you want to calculate the figure for the production budget. After the production budget, we have the topic related to direct material budget, because once you already prepared your production budget, you want to know that how much material, raw material we need to buy to produce this much quantity. Say your production budget, when you calculated, you came to know that your production budget is 1020. Like for the month of April, you have to produce 1020 units. Now you want to know that for these 1020 units, how much material I should buy. So for this purpose, we prepared direct materials budget. Friends, one important thing you have to keep in mind, these two formulas almost similar, only the change in first step. Like when we did production budget, in first step we use projected sales in units, while here in direct material budget, in first step we have to calculate total units needed for production. How we calculate? Units to be produced, which will come from production budget, multiply by raw material per finished product. What does it mean? For one finished product, how many units of raw material we are consuming? Say you produce one unit, you use 4 kg of materials to produce one finished product. So this is actually 4 is actually raw material per finished product. So units to be produced, you will pick up from production budget, multiply by raw materials per finished product. We will have total units needed for production. In this one, you will add desired ending inventory. Like that, you will get total needs, because we have to maintain the raw material inventory uh, for any kind of contingency, or any unforeseen events can happen. As a result of that, we can have the shortage of material, so we are maintaining some raw material inventory. So regarding desired ending inventory for raw materials, we will usually have the policy like how much company want to maintain. So he will definitely mention for you in the question. So once you have total needs, from this one, you will subtract your beginning inventory. You will have material to be purchased, correct? So we discuss direct material budget formula. Next one, students, we have direct labor budget. Good thing is this, in direct labor budget, we don't have very lengthy or complex formula. It can be a simple calculation. He will give you the rate, direct labor rate he will give you. Sorry, this is for the labor budget. We are just calculating how many hours, like how many hours we are going to spend when we will produce. I mean, based on this one, you can calculate your direct labor cost budget as well. Like in the first step, what we are doing, we are just calculating how many hours we are going to spend. So units to be produced, which will come from the production budget, and direct labor hours per unit, like for one unit how many hours you are going to spend. So it will give you total direct labor budget in hours. This is in hours, correct? If you want to have in cost, so what you will do, further these hours, like direct labor budget in cost, how you will have it, this direct labor budgeted hours multiply by your direct labor rate. Of course, you will have the approved rate from HR department, or sometime government will give their own rates. So while taking these rates, you can calculate based on your gross rate as well, plus including your additional benefits as well. So this formula, direct labor budget, is in hours, units to be produced, multiply by direct labor hours per unit. It will give you the number of hours. Those hours you can multiply with your rate to have the direct labor budget. Correct. So next one, students, we have variable overhead budget. We are continuing. This will be little long video, but the importance of topic like that, we are trying our best to give you the details. So the next one, students, we have variable overhead budget. To understand the variable overhead budget, you should have very good understanding about overhead cost allocation topic. Like you should have idea how to calculate the application rates, because once we calculate the application rate, then only we can prepare variable overhead budget. So here, simple one, we have variable overhead budget will be equal to projected total direct labor hours into variable overhead rate per direct labor hours. So here, over allocation base is labor hours. So we are considering that over allocation base is labor hours. Based on labor hours as allocation base, we are estimating the variable overhead budget. So you already know how to calculate the rate. Application rate formula we discussed before as well. We said that estimated overhead dividing by estimated allocation base. We already guided you in the previous lectures. Next one, students, we have just after variable overhead budget. Of course, there is fixed overhead budget. There is no any formula there. You just do the estimation based on your level of activity and also based on your last year spending. You do the estimation for fixed overhead. The next topic within the same unit, we have ending finished goods inventory budget. In order to work for ending finished goods inventory budget, as a first step, what you do unit cost calculation. Like you want to know that what is your per unit cost. That's the first step you do. You already know that in order to calculate the cost of any cost object, we always look for these four elements: direct materials, direct labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead. Like that, you will have finished goods per unit cost. This is per unit cost. So these all costs will come from the respective budgets. Like material cost will come from the material budget, labor cost will come from labor budget, variable cost, variable overhead and fixed overhead cost will come from the respective budgets. So once you have the per unit cost, in order to calculate the ending finished goods inventory budget, you just need to multiply this per unit cost with the closing units. Remember, closing units budget, we already estimated in the production budget. We said that it's based on the company policy, how much closing stock they want to keep. So closing units multiplied by per unit cost, which we calculated here, we will have ending finished goods inventory budget. After that, my students, we have a small introduction here, although this break-even calculations you have in part 2, but here we have small introduction. So you know that during part 1 also, some of the questions he is testing. So you need to be aware about break-even calculations. So for break-even, students, first of all, we calculate the contribution margin, sales minus variable costs. So here, make sure all kind of variable costs you are subtracting. Like students sometimes will do the mistake. They will only consider here variable manufacturing costs. So consider here all kind of variable costs. That's very important. After that, you have to calculate CMR, contribution margin ratio, contribution margin dividing by sales, multiply by 100, you will have contribution margin ratio. Break-even sales in dollar and in units, how you calculate break-even sales in dollar is equal to fixed cost dividing by contribution margin ratio. And in units, fixed cost dividing by contribution margin per unit. So you know that break-even sales is such kind of sales at which you are able to recover all kind of cost, and the bottom line for the P&L or the income statement you are reporting as zero. So we'll have more discussion about this topic in our another video. Here we are just explaining you the formulas. After that one, students, we have the pro forma operating income. Already you know that how to prepare the income statement. So here we just shown you pro forma mean projected income statement, operating income, how much we are expecting for the future. So sales, from the sales, it will come from the sales budget. Cost of goods sold coming from the cost of goods sold budget. We did not include cost of goods sold budget because we already made another video for the cost of goods sold. Also for unit number one, same formula you will use even if you are calculating the budget cost of goods sold. So once you subtract this one, you get the gross margin. Further, you subtract the non-manufacturing cost, you will have the operating income. The last formula for this unit we have related to the cash budget. Students, cash budget is one of the planning tool which is helpful for us to project how much cash we are expecting to receive in the future and how much payments we need to make in the future. So here, very simple, you write the beginning balance. In the beginning balance, you add all kind of possible receipts, like company expecting to receive the cash from various resources, like company will make the cash sales, company will collect the cash from its receivables. There is a possibility sometime company will sell its fixed assets, the old ones, sometime company will get the loan, some other income. So like that, once we add different kind of cash receipts resources in our opening balance, we will have the total cash available. From the total cash available, you have to subtract various kind of disbursements. First, we make the list of various kind of disbursement. Further, in order to get the ending balance from the total cash available, we subtract total cash disbursements. So that's all about from this unit. I hope that this video will be helpful for you to prepare for the exam. So this formula list you can go through whenever you are going to start the practice questions. So it can be treat as your quick overview for the unit. All right, students, thank you very much.